The question that is kind of staring us all in the face now is, should the original creator of an IP have a say in what's right or wrong about the direction the IP that they no longer control or have influence over is run? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. Welcome back, everybody, to Hanging Out. Just hanging out. Just hanging with Tov. I don't know if I ever established a real, canonic name for this little get together that we have. I think just hanging out is what I named the series. Man, I should really know that, huh? I'm gonna take the schwack off the old Bolski. You know what? I'm gonna need a bit, so I'm gonna fast forward this part.
I've seen a ghost disappear from my view till it came through the door and it turned into you. It ain't over. In the end, I know it ain't over. It ain't over. Yeah. All my life been the dog to beat on. Never giving up despite all that's going wrong. Goddamn, don't give it up everything.
Alright, now that we're nice and, oh heavens, now that we're nice and toasty, we can talk. So, David Jaff has resurfaced again, as he's done in the past, to trash talk the direction that God of War has gone in since his departure from the franchise after God of War 2. David Jaff is the creator of God of War and also of Twisted Metal. He doesn't really have anything else other than those two. He's worked on other things and he's been in the studio and stuff, but God of War and Twisted Metal are the things. Those are what he's known for. Those are his cash cows or whatever you want to call it. That's his thing. And Twisted Metal obviously being the lesser, it had its little moment back in the day, and he tried to bring it back for the PS3, and it just never, whatever. And then the Amazon show came out and did okay, I guess, and he was cited on there as being the creator or whatever, which was a smart move. But in terms of reach, God of War is his that's what made him, really. And so in knowing that, I feel like there's a really obvious question that stares a lot of us in the face when it comes to this topic, and that's, should a creator of an IP, after relinquishing creative power and any kind of connection to the IP, still be not taken seriously, but should their word be taken into account in anything regarding the product after his position was relinquished? Because to me, and just a very brief background on me, I have my own comic universe. I have a partner. We have our own comic book universe. We have our own badge. We have our own original characters. We have storylines written out, worlds, all of that. I'm a musician. I've been a musician for almost 2 decades. I'm a singer, pianist, songwriter, and I taught myself bass. So I'm working on an independent project that's going to be just singing and bass, I think, to some degree. And I also draw, I paint, I like whittling. There's a lot of art packed in me, so when it comes to like judging other art, I feel like I have a bit of a and also I've read every DC comic that has released since 1938. There are thousands of comics, but like it does not take that long to do that, and I did it over the span of several years. There were some that I didn't do. Like there's a line of standalone Harley Quinn comics that I didn't do. It didn't seem necessary. And then I believe it was Sinestro Corps that I didn't do, which I'm pretty sure it was a tie-in, so I should have, but I just didn't. I don't know what it was. I think at the time it didn't interest me at all. But I've read every Batman comic, every Superman comic, and I'm talking main lines. Main continuity storylines, and then some, non-canon branches and Elseworlds events and things. And when I say mainline, I mean the mainline Superman, mainline Green Lantern, mainline Batman, like all of their individual comics too in the main continuity. And I've read a lot of Vertigo comics, Dark Horse comics. And I've also read a lot of, nowhere near as many DCs. I'm a DC head through and through, but I have read a decent amount of Marvel comics too. I'm kind of getting sidetracked thinking about comics. This isn't about comics. So from my perspective, if it was my IP, or if it was one of my songs, or if it was a story that I created or a universe that I created, it's hard for me to put myself in his shoes, because I would never sell or step away from that if it started doing well. I'm good under pressure, and I would never make that decision because I would know that it would be changed. There's no way to avoid it inevitably being changed or just falling apart completely. So when you relinquish your creative power on that project, you lose all credibility on anything that follows that point. You understand? Like you as a logically thinking person, you have to know that your thing is going to be changed. They are not going to stick 100% to your vision because it's not you anymore. They need to pump them into it now. That's how it works in the creative process. Like if you really want to boil it down. So he knew that was going to happen and willingly relinquished his position, having any authority or creative influence over the product. And now he comes out and continues to publicly bash.
I want to tell you something about this shit. I liked very much. I thought 2018 was great. Ragnarok, not my cup of tea. But this is the problem with Indiana Jones. I don't want these characters to grow. I don't give a fuck what you're going through at the studio. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. If you're going to build a brand new IP, or you're going to build a character into the God of War lore, and that character is struggling or dealing with your problems that a lot of you guys that have gotten older and girls at the studio have dealt with, that's wonderful. Do that shit all day long. But don't take the character Kratos or Indiana Jones and go, you know what? I'm Steven Spielberg. I'm older now, and I'm really into family, and I want to tell stories about fathers and sons and God. No, fuck you. That is not what this character is, whether it's Indy or whether it's the goddamn Kratos. Okay, I just stop. I get it. I don't know. It's just like someone needs to be able to tell these people no sometimes and say, look, we love that you're arty farty. We love that you're taking shit from your personal life. We love that you're treating the medium, and Sony always has, as an art form as well as a business. We get it. We love it. We support it. But somebody still needs to step up there and go, you need to do all that within the pin that we've put up a fence for you. And if you step outside, the electric shock collar is going to get you. You need to do all that within the pin that says this is what God of War is. This is what Indiana Jones is. And if you want to make something that's not that, that's cool. But don't fucking call it God of War and don't fucking call it Indiana Jones. That's all I would say. Eddie T says Kratos is in the new game stressing over his 401k. That's right. Ravno says, I thought you liked Kratos except for the beard. I do like the first one. that Corey did. But that was because it was so meta and so interesting and genuinely just so good that I was cool with it. But no, I don't like the direction that God of War is going in at all now. After seeing this particular Ragnarok, I'll play Valhalla. Maybe that'll turn me around. Ragnarok was I've said this many, many times. Ragnarok was a great game. Wonderfully made, wonderfully produced, up and down all goddamn day. But it's not God of War. It's not, it's not for me. Let's put it that way. But if you dig it, you dig it. Good for you. Kratos would get boring, says Everett. Well, here's the thing about that. That's like saying James Bond will get boring or Spider-Man will get boring. Yes, I won't belabor the point, but I will tell you something.
Oh, here we go. He's going to say some stuff about comics. Oh boy.
There was a time in my life in my 20s where I was seriously trying to figure out how to write comic books. And I went to the San Diego Comic-Con and I went to a panel with one of the best comic writers of the last 50 years, Mark Waid, who's done, Kingdom Come, and he's just a great superhero writer. And in the Q&A, I asked him, I said, I don't understand this though. All these writers say that your characters should arc and there should be change and all this shit. I said, but how do you do that with a franchise character? If Spider-Man at the end of your 24 pages goes from being, oh my God, I can't get my shit together in my personal life and my professional life as Spider-Man are always creating this conflict, which the reader loves. Are you going to say at the end of 24 pages, he's healed? And that's the thing. I could never figure it out, but some writers know how to do it where it can still be the character, but there's a little bit added every iteration that there's a growth, but it's very slow. But let me ask you this. If I came to you and pitched you the character Kratos from 2018's game and you had never heard of Kratos before, I don't know if you would go, that sounds like a great character. I think he's only great because of he's kind of, he shat the bed in his previous games in terms of as a person, and now he's coming around the mountain. You know what I'm saying?
The direction that they've taken, a direction that has taken the game into a better land, like a better just environment in terms of a AAA game. Like they feel deserving of the AAA title now, instead of just a typical hack and slash that has like a bunch of good story and like diverse characters and stuff. Like it now feels like, I don't know. I love the original games, but to me, they feel like arcade games now compared to what God of War has become. And Kratos as a character, like he ridicules how they've turned Kratos into like a peaceful father, like whatever kind of thing. I understand that part of it. I can understand. I can understand being upset that like this isn't the character that I created, because it's a character. Story-wise, you can make all kinds of changes because there's infinite possibilities. But with the specific characters, I can understand why he would be upset that they fundamentally changed who Kratos is as a character. But I also think there's a very easy remedy for that. I think that they could just do like what they did with Ascension and Ghosts of Sparta, Chains of Olympus or whatever. The in-between games they put out for like the PSP and the Vita. They can do one of those in that game. It will be the time period after God of War 3 and before the 2018 God of War game. So you get to see Faye and him meeting. You get to see what it took to get her to make him understand her and like her magic more, and like the influence that she has over his brain magically. And like, I think that will be a very complex and emotional story. So they could even make that into, they could make a show or a couple episode thing and make it canon to the game universe. And even that would bridge that gap, and it would make the new games like feel like it flows better. Because I can understand going from God of War 3 and then playing 2018 is a vastly different experience. So I can understand that. I don't know who's playing 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5 like that, like in that way specifically, unless you're just doing a franchise speed run. But still, I get it. Like I'm not bashing him really. I think I'm just expressing my disappointment in how he handles himself. Like coming from another like creator, someone who's not even in the same fucking world as him creatively. Like I don't have nothing even remotely close to what he's had or who the people he's been taught. But like I feel like when you're a creator and you have it or you don't have it. It's one of those kinds of things. And so it's just disappointing, man. Like instead of like spreading positivity and being like, hey, look how my thing has gone from this to this. Instead, he's like, look at how this amazing, beautiful thing turned into this fucking piece of shit over here. Like that's how he's doing it. Like that's not how you should do it. Even if it was like mediocre, you should still want to prop up that project. But you know what the thing is? I feel like if it didn't do as well, he wouldn't be speaking up as much as he is. That's another like very gut instinct that I have. So that's another thing that bothers me. It's like you don't need to open your mouth on all this stuff. Like, and there's other controversies. There's other controversies that he's been involved in too. Like there's alleged thing. I'm not gonna get into any of that. But like, where does this even come from? Like, you wanted to step away and work on different projects and not be in, the AAA sphere because of the pressure and everything, which I get. But then you don't do anything. You tried to get Twisted Metal back onto the PS3, and that was fine, I guess. But like Twisted Metal never went anywhere, and now it's just a show. And like I also heard that he was shutting down rumors that there was going to be another game. Which, whatever, if you're going to cut ties with Sony completely and be that kind of person, that's a you decision. But, man, you could kind of put yourself in his position and understand a bit of it. But, like, some of it, just even on a basic level, seems like you kind of just dropped the ball and now you're being bitter. That's what it feels like. Especially because you went and you made a YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is just about critiquing game design and game development. So like you got a little bit of fire underneath you with God of War 1 and 2 and maybe Twisted Metal, but it's just not, whatever, I could be biased, but you do that and then you just fucking whatever, goodbye, I'm gonna go fucking do nonsense and then start a YouTube channel where I fucking bitch at people all day about how their fucking game looks like shit and whatever, because I'm not doing anything myself. I try really hard not to sound bitter, I really do, but the more I talk about people like this, and he's also not, he's far from the only person who's like this. I'm not the biggest fan of Rob Liefeld either. I think he's disingenuous, and I think he's held to a higher standard than he deserves. And I feel like a lot of the things that he has said over the years has been damaging to the comic book community rather than something that would prop it up. And I also don't like this. If you really pay attention, there is a lot of like drama in the creator community, specifically like comic creator community, where like for a while it was very like you're like piranhas munching at the scraps kind of thing, like everyone's trying to get a piece of this, piece of that, whatever. But like there's so many avenues that you could take now as a creator. You just have to be exploratory. You have to like figure it out. Like I don't know, I wish there was, I think, it's crazy. It's the same theme with my channel. It's a channel about Viking warriors and stuff, but the only thing I preach is peace. If there was just more peace amongst creators and collaborations and things like that, like the amount of ideas I've had as a creator of partnerships that could create potential studios, or that could create new resources for aspiring artists or illustrators and writers. You know, like sponsored classes, or like TED Talk kind of things where you can invite people in and do, like, I've seen individual creators doing little things here and there like that, but I'm talking at a almost state level, like a whole, because you gotta think, like, comics and illustration and animation and all of that is a massive market in the United States. It is one of the biggest. And like sports, we have these things, like big things for sports. I feel like there needs to be more things, more artistic and expressive things being made into bigger deals than they are. Like, the sports is great. We have the Olympics, the X Games, the Winter Olympics. We got, basketball, football, all of that. Cool. Like, sports is amazing, but maybe we need to have like a bigger thing for art too. You know, why can't art also be to that level? Like, there's enough people who love it, and a lot of it can be animation and art and illustration and storyboarding and creation of physical art, or even digital art. You could do it that way too. I think that needs to be the next step in the industry, and I would love to be a part of something like that, where we try to push for art to be this like nationwide thing, because art is so important to us as humans. I'm an avid believer in that, and I think this is like a very important. I think it's very important. Anyway, I love that this little discussion about David Jaff that was leaving this like sour feeling in my gut. Like, I don't like talking bad about, or like, I think for us as creators, it's important to express our take on things. I think that's also why reaction channels are so popular, is because people do like to see how the masses react to certain things. And then I think it is a little bit more meaningful when the person reacting is someone who's experienced in that field. So, and I'm not saying that I'm this like amazing, like awesome creator who has millions of followers and this and that. I'm not. But I am a talented creator, and I have multiple art forms that I am involved in, and I've been doing it for, like I said, 2 decades almost. Like, I have experience, and I like to share that with people. I never want to come across as someone cocky, or like I have something that someone else has. Everyone could have what I have. I don't think I have anything that's so unique and special about myself. I'm just fortunate that I'm able to sing and do screaming, and my brain works in a way that I can push out song lyrics that have like rhyming schemes and wordplay and rhythm, and I can play instruments, and like, these are all things that I worked on myself. Like, I just did it. Like, I'm not a robot that was made in a factory that can do all this kind of shit that you can't do. You know what I mean? Like, anyone can do what I do. I can just do it, and I do it. But yeah, I think everybody should do everything they possibly can to make the things that they love the most the focal point of their life. Like, find a way. Like, what's the thing that you love the most? If you love ice cream so goddamn much, work your ass off, save money, get a loan or something, like a small business loan, and open a dope ass ice cream shop. You'll make money. Ice cream, everyone wants ice cream. And if you find a way to like stay open longer into the colder months, you have something like maybe you do like a cinnamon apple warm like in a cup, like shaved apple slices with the cinnamon and all that with like cinnamon and whipped cream on top, and do like have like a couple options for those, like in the colder months you could stay open longer. It's ideas like that, like do things like that. Obviously it takes, and the working your ass off part and making the money to or having like a better credit score or whatever to be able to get a loan or to afford to do all that. Obviously that's the hardest part, but yeah, like you're not going to get there until you actually try. Like I get stuck in these long phases where I sit and do nothing because I haven't been putting my business name out there and like trying to get new clients or booking photography or I haven't been doing anything. I've just been sitting and doing absolutely nothing. And that drives me nuts after a while because I feel like I need to be moving and doing things. And when I get into those funks, it's a killer. So like, I can definitely understand and obviously depression too. Depression just makes you feel like you want to sink into the couch. So like I get it. I get what's going on out there, and I get that, especially in the times we're living in now. It's terrible, but I think everybody just needs a push, and they need the right kind of push. And the push that you need is not the push that I need, and the push that I need is not the push that he needs, and the push that he needs is not the push that they need. Everyone is different, and I think that's what makes us beautiful, but it's also what makes us so goddamn complicated. But we all gotta like unify, like be together. And you know what I was thinking about? I was having these thoughts about like how like if you're gonna rationalize alien life and like higher intelligence and all this, and like you want to go with the theory that there are extraterrestrials who evaluate civilizations or planets or whatever, or they don't want to associate with us because of this or that or whatever, don't you think that they would want to see a unified... Because every iteration of aliens or whatever we see, they are all a unified, like, one type of thing, which would lead you to believe that, like, their race found a way to completely unify themselves and become one race instead of multiple, like... And, like, as time goes on and the blend and, like, everybody mixing races across the world, like, what do you think is going to happen eventually? Like... hundreds and hundreds of years down the line, like, you have to like think about evolution and like what would the next step in our evolution be. Well, it's either going to be cybernetic, where we have like we learn to have like biomechanical augmentations or nanotechnology in our brains or things where now our nerves can operate and like whatever, and then we can have like the first mechanical birth where like a faux uterus pumps out like a half human half machine being. Like
it is late at night and I'm still editing, but just realizing that after I went on about evolution, I said either and then talked about cybernetics and then didn't say the other thing. So the other thing outside of cybernetics in terms of evolution would be like a unification of races into this one being, I guess, where everybody's kind of seen the same way. 'Cause like we're not creating any new races or nationalities or anything like that. So eventually, you think years and years and years down the line, we probably all will be, just by default, this one unified thing. It's either going to be that or total destruction, where it doesn't matter. So, I don't know. All right, bye.
It sounds science fiction-y, but we live in that era now. Like, we live in that time that's possible. Or it's not far-fetched. And I think a lot of people need to get with that program, because there's a lot of things going on that we saw in movies in the 80s that felt like such a time so far in the future that we can't even think about. I don't know. There's a lot of people who say like we don't have flying cars or this or that, but like we have technology beyond that. Like we could have flying cars, but even Elon Musk was like, yeah, there's no fucking point in doing that though, because then you'd have to have sky highways and it would be like even harder to put signs up there. That it would be like Coruscant in Star Wars. Like that is a nightmare. And he was talking about how it would make more sense to have underground roadways like that, and then have it so that the solar power can run down and power. See, that's a doper idea than a flying car, in my opinion. To me, a flying car only sounds cool if you're able to just fly it wherever you want. But even then, that doesn't sound cool to me, because then I would just want a spaceship. If I had a flying car, I would just want a spaceship that I could fly off-world in. I would just drive a real car. Why would I want to fly over the real highway? That's ridiculous to me. I don't know. I'm getting way off topic, but I'm gonna say, I think this was a pretty good just hanging out video. Not gonna suck my own cock about it, but you know. But yeah, my biggest takeaway from hearing the ramblings again was, you know, I don't know if many people are taking him seriously about the things that he says about the franchise and where it's gone. But God of War now, as a AAA game, has some of the most complex dialogue themes in a game that I've seen in a very long time. The emotional depth of Christopher Judge, and I apologize, I forget the kid's name who plays him. I'll put it here. But those two together as actors have come such a long way, and their acting is so powerful. It's like a charm almost on the brain, the way they're able to act with each other. The story is beautiful, and like I said, if they make a game or something that bridges the gap between 3 and 4, I guess, that would be, I think, the biggest thing that could potentially carry the franchise on even further in a good way, instead of just falling down the same paths that every game makes. But the thing is, let's be real, Sony is the best at making story-driven games right now. They just are. Sony, the people at Santa Monica, Insomniac, those studios alone are pumping out like stories and characters and emotional depth like no other. Like Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, the Uncharted games, like you can't compare, man. Like Sony they're gods, man, with that shit. They just have some kind of formula, and it just kicks the ass of all the other ones. You know, obviously there are other games that come out that aren't from Sony or whatever that do, but like one of my favorite games of all time, like top 3 game of all time, is Ghostwire Tokyo. That game is unbelievable. I'm 100% going to either stream it or do a series on the channel of that game, because I platinumed it already, but I'm gonna start it over again, new game, and do a run with that. So I guess let me know in the comments if I should stream it or if I should do just regular videos of it. I'm gonna end this video by saying I can understand being a creator and seeing your IP go down a road that you didn't want it, or didn't want to see it go down. But I can also understand as a creator that that is bound to happen as time goes on. And I can also understand as a creator that while it's okay to remember and cherish the good times when you were involved, it's also okay to cherish and prop up where it goes without you. I think that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, and I think that's what's happening with David. So I'm going to end the video here, and you know what? So I'll put his channel up here, and you're welcome to go watch him too. I'm not telling anyone to not watch his content. I think he's done great work, and yeah, this is just my opinion on the whole thing, and take my opinion however you want to take it. I'm not forcing any ideologies or anything down anyone's throats. I just have a very firm belief system when it comes to being a creator, and I assume a lot of you do too. So until the next hanging out video, we'll see ya.